Hey, folks, welcome back to Live Impact News. I am Tradisha Woodard. Have a ton of things to get to today, but first let's just jump a little bit into what has already happened earlier this week. We know Josh Stein, he announced the grand opening of the new PSA Airlines headquarters in Charlotte Douglas International Airport, which was a really big talker for a lot of folks. They said this is going to create hundreds of well-paid jobs. This is going to be a big investment back into our people, back into our community. Let's take a listen.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Chris, how was your experience at the DMV getting that new driver's license?
We should talk about that.
We will talk about it, and we will keep improving our DMV. What a treat it is to be with so many distinguished guests, Commissioner Chair, Mayor Pro Tem, legislators. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being such effective advocates and representatives of the people of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. We're here to celebrate some exciting news, the grand opening of PSA Airlines' new headquarters right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. This milestone proves what we have long known, that North Carolina is not only first in flight, we are the future of flight. North Carolina has become synonymous with aviation and aerospace innovation. We're home to more than 400 aerospace companies that contribute more than $88 billion to our economy on an annual basis. We are still gaining speed and altitude. PSA Airlines' decision further solidifies North Carolina's place in America's aerospace leadership. We've been putting in the work to make sure that we're ready for the jobs of today and tomorrow. We're home to a world-class workforce and a robust community college system that is producing students of need in high-demand industries. It includes multiple community college locations offering curricula in aerospace manufacturing and aviation systems technology. In addition to our people, our quality of life, location, and business environment are second to none. North Carolina last year has been ranked the #1 state for business, the #1 state for workforce development, the #1 state for economic development. We're the #1 state for job creation in this country in the fourth quarter. The #1 state where people from other states are moving to, even from Nevada. So PSA Airlines, we are pleased to welcome you to our success story. The move to Charlotte means that more than 400 good-paying jobs will be based right here in North Carolina. The investment is expected to support nearly $250 million in economic output across the state every year, while generating roughly $10 million in annual state and local taxes. And the headquarters will also support hundreds more positions across the state through the supply chain and in community businesses. PSA, we know that you had many choices about where to relocate, and we are so happy that you chose Charlotte, North Carolina. Economic development is a team sport, and Team North Carolina is the best in the business. An announcement of this magnitude doesn't just happen. It's the product of a strong collaboration by many actors, company executives, state and local elected officials of both parties, economic development professionals, and I want to acknowledge our educational partners that were critical to making this happen. UNC Charlotte, Central Piedmont Community College, Johnson C. Smith University, and the Aviation Institute of Maintenance, as well as the ATP Flight School, all here in Charlotte, North Carolina. These institutions are helping to build the skilled workforce that makes this an attractive place for companies to locate. For the first time in decades, North Carolina has a passenger airline headquartered in our state.
Woo!
That is certainly something worth celebrating. It reflects the strength of our aviation industry, the quality of our workforce, and the collaborative partnership that makes projects like this possible. We look forward to watching PSA Airlines soar to even new heights from their new home here in Charlotte. And I look forward to partnering with all of you to keep building a safer, stronger, and more prosperous North Carolina with real opportunity for every person. Thank you all so much for having me.
Thank you, Governor.
Governor Stein. Please join us now in welcoming to the stage Mark Jarrell, Chairman of the Mecklenburg County Board of Commissioners.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's great to see everybody. It's an awesome day today, and I am Mark Jarrell, and I want to bring you greetings on behalf of the 9-member Board of County Commissioners. And it is great to be here with our governor, Mayor Pro Tem, my elected colleagues, and all of our dignitaries. This is an amazing day. And we are so proud to welcome PSA Airlines' new headquarters to our community. Mecklenburg County is home to one of the country's most dynamic aviation markets. And PSA's presence opens more opportunities for our residents to build long-term careers in this industry. With today's grand opening, we are actually reinforcing our commitment to excellence, aviation, and community through strategic partnerships and collaboration. PSA's investment shows confidence in our talent pipeline we are building, from K-12 through community college and beyond. The addition of PSA to our ecosystem aligns with the county's ongoing commitment to fostering greater upward mobility for our residents. And with today's launch, we are enhancing that ability to connect our residents to high-paying, high-growth careers in aviation and transportation. So I'd like to thank Governor Stein, our partners at Central Piedmont, American Airlines, the City of Charlotte, who actually has 6 members here, so you might have a quorum. So we're watching you closely, team.
Favor, say aye.
So you got to watch that group. Certainly our new partners at PSA Airlines for all the hard work that went into meeting this moment. So, and it's really a moment that represents more than just a grand opening. What we're celebrating today is a transformative step for our local aviation industry, our economy, and even greater region. So through collaboration with CMS, we have the opportunity to expose our students early to the possibilities in aviation. Not to mention CPCC's aviation and advanced manufacturing programs that align directly with the needs of employers like PSA, from maintenance and engineering to IT, logistics, and operations. So I know I speak for everyone in this room when I say we can't wait to bear witness to the positive impact.
All right, folks, once again, that was more information about the PSA airline headquarters from Governor Josh Stein, as well as the Mecklenburg County commissioners, basically just talking about the benefits and the impact that this is going to bring here to our area. Now, if you are on the road or you are heading somewhere in Gaston County and you normally use the highway, this is something that we flagged just a couple of hours ago. If you take a look at this, you can see the shoulder is closed. This is I-85 North. This is near mile marker 23. Now, nothing too crazy. But we did get some traffic slowdown, as you can see, near Belmont, near the McAdenville Road area. They're expecting that to wrap up closer to 7:46 p.m. But right now, the shoulder near exit 23, which is near McAdenville Road, is closed.
Yeah,
So-
Tradisha, I was watching the live camera while we were still getting ready for this. The tow truck essentially just pulled off, so this should clear out pretty soon.
Okay.
But regular traffic, to be honest.
Okay, awesome. Now, outside of chaos on the roads, we know there's also lots of chaos in our airports, right? We know big changes are coming because of the chaos, long TSA lines. I was actually speaking with Danielle when she came into the studio today. She was just one of very many people who have been impacted by the delays, just a lot of stuff happening at the airports right now. But we do know a big change is coming to airport security. The Trump administration says immigration and custom enforcements, those agents will soon be arriving to help TSA kind of push things further along, hoping to impact those staffing shortages and prevent so many long delays that folks are seeing right now. Let's take a listen.
So we know it's spring break for a lot of folks, and others are just planning that trip, hopefully trying to get away. Here in the Charlotte area, the airport putting out notices to have patience because the lines at TSA might be a little bit long because of the partial government shutdown. And with the price of oil going up due to the conflict in Iran, how is that affecting travel airfares as we look towards summer travel? So we needed to bring in an expert, travel expert, Katie Nastro from Going, joining us here on Live Impact News. Katie, thanks for taking the call here last minute. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so for the millions of Americans planning to fly out soon, what are we looking at these days?
Yeah, unfortunately, we are in I believe it's day 27 now of the partial government shutdown. And what that means is that we're starting to see the ripple effects of what we've seen in shutdowns past, meaning that these TSA workers are now getting a paycheck with a zero in the compensation portion. So that means they're expected to show up day in and day out without receiving any pay. And that can really take a financial strain on them. And so we're starting to see those call outs occur. And there is no clear directive as to when exactly if and when this is going to happen at your airport. But what we can say is it's starting to happen across the system. And so you need to be aware that this is a possibility. You could expect to see some delays when you get to the airport and you're processing through. So our biggest piece of advice over at Going is, yes, you can download the MyTSA app that will give you historical info as to how long you should expect to wait. But because of spring break occurring across the country, we want travelers to give yourself even more time on top of everything else because it's going to be busy and because of the shutdown, as well as checking the Charlotte Douglas International Airport website directly, which actually gives you real-time updates, as well as the app for the airport, which I would say is actually a better estimate of real-time updates and estimates because there are more boots on the ground, and because that MyTSA app is not exactly using real-time data because of what's going on. So biggest piece of advice is checking the airline's website and planning accordingly, but of course listening to mom and dad, giving yourself more time than you think you need.
Yeah, we've seen some airports like Houston, I believe, New Orleans, with 3-hour waits just to get through security. I can't even imagine. So good advice there. So then, is this a good time to book flights? People are kind of holding off. What to do? We feel like we're in a little bit of booking the airfare limbo here.
Yeah, and great question, and it's one that we've seen pop up across social media, across from our members, and it's really what you should do now because of what's going on currently geopolitically. So, first things first, we want people to understand that this is actually the great time to be booking your summer airfare anyway. So this should really be more sort of a push for people to get on top of it. It's kind of like that final boarding call, like you should be doing this anyway, especially because of what's kind of unfolding. And we don't necessarily know how long this conflict may last. So again, it's just a good reminder that you should be getting on top of this anyway. Now, we haven't seen any crazy spikes in airfare in the way of domestic prices. We have heard of some international airlines already imposing an increase because of the price of oil. Those are specific international carriers. That's not necessarily a U.S. carrier that has come out and rightly said that they're going to increase fares by X percentage. So we don't want to cause alarm, but we do want people to be aware and just encourage them to be booking their summer travels anyway. But one thing that we would encourage people to do, even if it's a little bit more on the upfront cost, book that main economy ticket because you want that flexibility to be able to take advantage of any price fluctuations that we're likely to see because volatility is certain for the future. Nothing is certain except volatility in the sort of short and medium term. So when you book a main economy ticket versus basic economy ticket, you're able to call the airline and get that reprice at that lower cost and then get the credit back. So you're able to then use that credit for future times when we might see airfare sort of spike. So Biggest piece of advice is give yourself that flexibility and the opportunity to take advantage of price drops by booking that main economy ticket versus a basic economy fare.
And let's talk real quick about safety for those, I know a lot of folks have Dubai as a bucket list, for example, going to regions of the Mideast, which are now dealing with level 3, level 4 safety advisories, parts of Mexico last month with the cartel happening, but that's not all of Mexico. What do you say to folks who have these bucket list trips and that are now concerned about what's happening in different parts of the world?
Having concern for international travel right now is definitely a valid sort of knee-jerk response, but we don't want people to just go in with fear for every single trip that they're about to take. Now, obviously, there are areas of the world that it is in your best interest to avoid for the current time period, but that doesn't necessarily mean 9 months from now, 12 months from now, that you won't be able to travel and tick off that bucket list trip to, say, Dubai or elsewhere. So we want people to be aware of what's going on, but then also remember that the world is a big place, not to go into it blindly, but to equip yourself with the necessary documentation or announcements or just any sort of information that will give you the best sort of peace of mind when you do travel. One thing I sort of love to point to is the Foley Foundation has this really great resource for travelers. It's sort of a travel safety guide. And one of the things that they talk about within it is this rule of stupids. And it's just a good reminder. Don't do anything stupid with stupid people at stupid times of the day, especially at night. So sort of just a funny but very timely reminder that, if your spidey senses are off, if you're feeling unsure, or are you going to even enjoy your trip at all, or are you just going to be worried the entire time, it's a good idea to maybe reassess and rethink of rebooking for the future.
Good words, good reminders, and I'm going to remember that certainly as well. Don't be stupid.
Yes, we all can take a page out of the rule of stupid sometimes.
Oh, that's good. When it boils down to it, right? Katie Nastro from Going, appreciate your time and weighing in on what's happening. A lot of eyes are on the travel industry and what they should do. All right, appreciate you. Thanks.
And once again, folks, that was pretty much our team just getting more details about all of the chaos that's happening at our airport, including Charlotte Douglas, specifically warning folks about the delays as well as the uptick in travel right now. It's spring break, so a lot of folks are experiencing a lot of bumps in the road. We'll be right back. All right, folks, let's talk about scams. They are everywhere right now. I mean, you probably know someone who's been scammed or know someone who knows someone who's been scammed. But we specifically spoke with the Better Business Bureau to get a better idea of what's happening with these scams and which scams are the most popular right now. It looks like we have social media scams. That's a no-brainer, right? Everybody's on social media. We have the SAT prep scams, and we have pet scams. Take a listen into what they found.
At 9:13, you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, and this morning, a warning to consumers to be on high alert so you're not asking where's the money. Scammers are getting more creative, more convincing, from fake customer service accounts on social media to phony SAT prep callers to online puppy listings that never deliver. Oh my goodness. Joining us now, Juliana O'Rourke from the Better Business Bureau. Juliana, thanks for coming in this morning.
Always happy to be here.
Yeah, nice to have you. What are we? All right, let's start with the social media, these fake accounts.
Yes.
Unbelievable, because you know what? I think everyone is on their social media more than, I don't know, anecdotally, I feel anything else, right?
Anymore, right? You use social
Totally.
media almost as a search engine. You're looking stuff up.
Yeah.
That's where you go to complain or say you had a really great experience.
Right.
And so kind of that goes hand in hand with that is if you do have a little bit of a bad experience with somebody, you maybe post about it, you tag the company, what have you, whoever it is, an online purchasing company, maybe it's an airline, a hotel, whatever, and you post about it, you're upset, you tag them, and you kind of hope that they'll respond to you because you're upset about it. And so what you want to be careful for is if you start to receive multiple responses from different accounts. Scammers know that people do this. They are very aware that people go to social media and tag these accounts, and so they build fake customer service accounts to respond to people when they see certain accounts being tagged that are actually legitimate, but they'll respond to you as if they are the legitimate company when they're not. And so they're essentially trying to get your information, whether it's your personal information or financial information. So you just want to be really careful when you do that to not automatically assume that it's the actual company responding to you should somebody respond.
So they are reaching back out to you from this fake account to your email, to social media?
Yeah, they could
DM?
be responding to your DM on your social media account. And so what we kind of recommend people do is, first and foremost, if you get more than one response, that's a little bit of a red flag, right? Because you're like, well, which account is legitimate? They're not going to have multiple responding to you. And then sort of look to see all of the accounts that respond to you. A lot of times the scammers have just created these accounts. They're newer. They don't have many followers. They may not have been around for a long time. And so a lot of these companies that you're going to be working with or purchasing from, they've been around for a while. Social media isn't new. They're going to have had these established accounts. You can see what other customers have tagged them, how many followers do they have, when was the account created. So those are all things you're going to want to pay attention to.
Okay.
And if you still aren't sure, go do some Google, go do some AI chatting, see what's actually legitimate, who it is, maybe contact them by customer service phone number, look that up as opposed to going on social media, because we know social media is a hotspot for scammers.
Right.
So.
Totally. You know what I've done? It wasn't so much a complaint. It was a question, like why, for an airline, like
Yeah.
why is, this flight late? Or why is this flight sitting on the tarmac
Yeah.
for 45 minutes? And I DM'd the airline directly.
Yes.
And so I proactively went to
Yeah.
a legitimate company, and then they actually DM'd me back
Yeah.
rather than putting it out there on my social media
Yeah,
post.
and I think to your point, when you find the real company and you tag them, it should be that same tag getting back to you, not something different. They don't change up, their responses with a different account. They're all pretty standard because they want people to reach out to them through one channel, on
Yeah.
social media. They're not going to have these 5 different accounts.
Okay. There's something here about that verification check mark on the social media account too.
So a lot of those, major companies, they're going to be verified. They'll have that little blue check mark next to their name. So that's another thing you can kind of look out for. If there is no verification check mark, that would be a little bit concerning for me. I probably wouldn't necessarily proceed with that company unless I did a lot of research and was like, okay, this is theirs. But I think I would still probably use a different avenue as well if I needed to. I mean, customer service phone numbers, you can find those pretty easily anymore. Maybe send them an email as opposed to just reaching out on social media. But you definitely have some
Right.
options.
Yeah, and then what are they saying if they reach back out to you on your social media?
Yeah, so if it's a fake scammer, they may say, hey, fill out this form so that we can report your complaint, or fill out this form and give us your financial information, where we could could send a refund or what have you, and then, unfortunately now they have your information, and it's really not somebody you want to have your information.
Yeah, so it does look like you're getting a response, and you're like, oh, yay, at least
Exactly.
I can get this
Yeah.
resolved real quick.
And so if you get sent a link or something like that, don't click on it, maybe hover over it, see where it actually takes you. Does it look like a legitimate link? Again, is the account legitimate? Has it been around for a while? How many followers are there? How many interactions do they have? All those types of things you want to look out for.
Okay, very good. So parents could be complaining about that. And then parents have another thing to worry about,
Yes.
right? College prep and their children. How are scammers potentially exploiting their anxiety?
Yeah,
Trying to
so-
get their students prepared.
Yeah, well, so we know that college students obviously prepare for SAT, ACT, all these things. They go through a company called the College Board. They're the ones that basically authorize and handle all of these tests. And so what scammers have done is they will call you pretending to be from the College Board and saying, oh, your student or your child signed up to receive these materials for prep to study, and we're going to send you CDs, books, what have you, but we need your credit card because we're going to charge you $250. That seems to be the specific amount.
Okay.
And we'll refund that money to you when you send the materials back after your student is done studying, which is a little crazy because it's like, who's actually sending that kind of stuff back? Because it just doesn't seem, once you send that stuff, it's like you buy it. So basically, people are getting scammed out of this because they're never receiving the materials. Their student never actually signed up for this. They're just scammers reaching out, but they're very convincing because they might have your child's name, your address, all these things that they can essentially find online. And so it's a little, it's very deceiving, and these parents may believe it just because they have so much of this information. But what they should do is just hang up, talk to their child. Did you sign up for something? Do the research to understand the College Board doesn't really just call you randomly like that asking for your credit card information. So of course we know that people do need to study materials, right?
Right.
But do that research on your own. People aren't really just taking time to reach out to you.
Okay, yeah, so the College Board does not reach
No,
out to the
they're-
family.
No, they're not going to call you unsolicited. They're not going to, reach out to you through those channels. Of course, if you reach out to them and want those materials, they're going to be happy to send them
Okay,
to you.
right.
But it's, anytime somebody is like, oh, send me the money and then, I'll get it back to you, that's a scam. Like, the world just doesn't work like that. When you send somebody money, it's gone.
Yeah. Right.
And so if for some reason you feel like, hey, they called me, it's legitimate, my child signed up, always use your credit card to pay with because at least you have a little bit of financial backing and protection. You could dispute the charges. But if you send money any other way, gift cards, peer-to-peer payments, you're going to be in trouble. 'cause you're not gonna get it back.
How do they know about your family and that, you have Johnny Boy going to college next year or what have you?
Yeah, scammers find everything that they want.
So they're
whether
not
it's through
bots.
The dark web. No, whether it's through the dark web or public information. So much of our information is public and can be found so easily these days. Whether it's through a data breach or it's just out there living, they get the information. They know all of this stuff, and it's a little concerning, right? Because you're like, how do they know all that in the
It's
first place?
messed up. You got too much time on your hands.
Yeah.
Get like a legitimate legal job.
I know. If only they did good, right?
Just do good.
Yes.
Just have some morals and do right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just on my Monday platforms here today. Okay. And let's talk about this National Puppy Day that's coming up.
Yeah.
So cute, so cute. But there's also with that fake pet listings.
Yes.
What's going on here?
So this is very popular, but National Puppy Day is March 23rd, and
Okay.
so we always talk very heavily about this now just because we know we see this all the time where puppies are posted. It's not just puppies anymore. It's like all types of animals, kittens, you name it. They're posted online. They're posted in these forums. They're so cute. They're available.
So
They're
cute.
$1,000, $800, whatever, however much they are. And what ends up happening is they're not really real. They're fake listings. They've snagged images from other sites or other sellers, and they're using these images obviously fraudulently and telling consumers, oh, they're available. We can ship them to you. We're located here. And before you know it, a consumer's like, okay, great, I want to buy this puppy. It's an $850 dog. I put down maybe $500 deposit, and then all of a sudden the person is like, well, now they need another $200 for shots. Now they need another few $100 for this, that, or the next. Oftentimes, once you start paying that, then it's like, oh, now I need another $800 to ship the pet to you, and you have to pay for the crate, and you have to pay for this fee and that fee, and it's like a lot of consumers don't realize until they've already spent several $100s that they're being scammed. So you want to be really careful. If you've not seen the puppy or pet in person, that's a red flag. If the person isn't going to allow you to see it in person, that's a red flag. These are all things you want to be really careful for because some of these scammers are so good at what they do, especially with pet pets, it's a little scary.
So it's like fishing.
Yes.
Fishing technique.
Yep, pretty
or just
much.
fake images.
Yeah,
or
fake
someone
images.
else's images.
Yeah, and so, if there is a pet or puppy or kitten or whatever it is that you find online that you want, request to see it in person. Don't just do everything online. Take that image that you found, throw it in Google, do a reverse image search to see where else is this image appearing, because oftentimes when you do that, you'll find it all over the internet. It's the same image.
I know my brother bought a puppy way back when online,
Yeah.
and it was from a different state. Had no problem. It was
Yes,
fine. It was
yes.
totally fine. So I don't know what he did right.
Yeah.
Because to buy, a purebred or what have you online,
Yeah.
sometimes you are going to have to bring them from out of state.
Yeah, and so I think that's just where you have to say, okay, am I willing to drive to wherever they are to see them in person first? Do not ever pay some full amount. I mean, most people will require some type of a deposit, of course, to hold the puppy, but they should be very open to allowing you to come see them, check them out in person, come pick them up. I mean, there's a lot of reputable sellers online that you can
Yeah.
do this. My sister did the same. She just bought a purebred Great Dane. He's beautiful.
Oh, wow.
He's absolutely stunning. But I can also see how, there's also people that replicate that and rip people off because they're high ticket dogs. They're
Yeah.
expensive, which is, it's crazy to me, but they're expensive.
Yeah, so at what point do most people realize they've been swindled here?
I think when it's all strictly online and it's, hey, it's going to be this amount and we'll ship it this date. And then it's like, okay, you've paid the minimum deposit or whatever it is. And then a couple days before they're like, well, now we need a few $100s more for shots. Well, now we need the rest of your deposit. Oh, well, now we need, it's like they just continue to ask you for more money. And so I would say the first time that they ask you for additional money or the second time, but even before you get to that point, whomever you're purchasing from, do some extra research.
Right.
Throw the seller's name, the company's name, whatever, in a Google or AI chat. Throw the word customer review behind it. Check to see
Reviews.
scam behind it. See what other people are saying. Look up those additional images. Even you can take the text, copy a sentence or two of the text, search it and see where else it's showing up. I mean, you can really do the research behind the scenes anymore before you purchase and lose your money.
Oh my goodness. So what way do you find a reputable breeder?
I think you just have to research very, very much. And I mean, word of mouth is obviously great if you have friends
Yeah.
that have made purchases. But I think it's really just the research and ensuring that who you're working with is legitimate. I think a lot of times, people go to the internet to say what great experience they've had. If they've purchased from a breeder, they have, a lot of images. But it's really just the research that you need to do.
And breeders may probably use a what do you call it, the friend-to-friend pay
Exactly.
version too?
Yeah, and
So that's dangerous.
Yep. Anytime you want to use a credit card again, because a lot of times they're going to tell you, pay me through Cash App, pay me through a Venmo or a Zelle, or these peer-to-peer payments where as soon as you send it, it's gone. So at least if you use a credit card, you have again that financial backing, a little bit of protection to dispute the charge. But if you use anything like cash, peer-to-peer payment, things like that, it's kind of out of your realm. So
Yeah.
my recommendation, I would always just say, see it in person. I mean, if it's a legitimate seller, they would agree to have you come see this in
Right.
person before you purchase. And also, if they have a litter, letting you choose and go to see, hey, which one do I actually want? Like, interact with them, maybe see, which one would be best suited for your home, all of those things.
All right, and then once you realize with any of these scams, once you have been swindled, what's the first thing people should do?
Yeah, so if you have used your credit card or anything like that, maybe put a freeze on your credit, check your credit report just to be sure nobody has opened anything else in your name. Of course, report it to us at BBB. We have a really great tool, Scam Tracker, bbb.org/scam tracker. It allows us to see, hey, what's going on in our community? Because some of the examples I've just given you are actually local individuals that
Oh,
have reported
really? Do you want to
scams.
call them out?
Yeah, I know, right? So,
So
actually, the
warn our fellow Carolinians in the area.
So, yeah, the puppy scam, that's legitimate. The person I'm referring to lost $1,400. They tried to get her for almost $3,000, and it took her a little ways to realize, she was being scammed, but she finally got there and stopped providing her information and more money, which it just breaks your heart because you're
cut
like,
her losses a little bit.
yeah,
but
because you're like, dang, she was looking to find a companion, her and her mom, and her mom wasn't doing so great. And then, now they're scamming out all this money, and it's like, well, that was the money they were going to use to actually get a pet. Now they don't have those funds to buy a legitimate, dog or
That's
puppy or what
awful.
have you. And there's a lot of, especially with puppy scams, there's a lot of breeds that are specific that scammers, for whatever reason, target in on. It's like these smaller versions of dogs, maybe the teacup poodles.
Well, they're boutique, so you can
Exactly.
charge more.
right. How did you find Turkey?
Use a rescue.
See, just go to a rescue.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I do. But hey, to each their own.
Right.
But yeah, it's like these small, like she said, boutique breeds, or they could be these high-end expensive breeds, like these purebreds and things
Right.
like that. So
Right.
you just want to be really careful.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, we do. We have to be careful all the time. All right, Juliana O'Rourke from the Better Business Bureau, we thank you for joining us. Nice, in-depth conversation on this Monday morning. Get you started off the right foot. Be wary out there, because there are people ready to take advantage of the most vulnerable. We're going to take a break here on Live in.
Taking advantage of the most vulnerable. You heard it from our Jane Monreal. That was our team. Just basically getting some more details on the most popular scams right now. We're talking about customer service scams, pet scams, all kinds of scams. Be careful out there, folks. We'll be right back after the break. Well, officials are still working to tackle crime in Charlotte, and Chief Patterson has already completed her first 100 days. Let's take a listen and how it's going so far.
Greetings, Charlotte. This week marks my first 100 days as Chief of Police for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. During this period, I have spent time listening and learning so that I may know what is important in leading CMPD forward. From day one, I have committed to leading with transparency, both internally and externally, making sure everyone understands both our progress and our challenges as a police department in a growing city. Over the last 3 months, I have spent time visiting roll calls and units, speaking to our employees. We have also conducted a climate and culture survey that yielded many common themes on areas to work on throughout the department. In the last 100 days, I have observed firsthand the tremendous work CMPD officers and professional staff do on a daily basis to keep Charlotte safe. Our employees are what makes this department among the best, if not the best, across the nation. I'm encouraged by the positive trends in crime statistics and by our strong case clearances. At the same time, I am deeply concerned by the number of dangerous situations our officers have recently faced in conducting their daily duties. Our officers should never be placed in additional danger because of individuals who pose a threat. They're not being held accountable. Ensuring meaningful accountability through the justice system will be a key priority for me moving forward. I intend to work closely with those who are over our magistrates and working with our district attorney to ensure accountability across the board. I encourage the community to stand with me in seeking legislation that ensures maximum penalty for those who assault or harm our officers. Coming into the role as chief, I identified 3 areas of focus for the department. They include reducing violent crime and disorder, enhancing community engagement and collaboration, and also improving employee wellness and morale. In my first week, we initiated Operation Safe Season, a proactive multi-agency effort focused on keeping Uptown safe during the busy holiday season. Together with our partners at the Highway Patrol, North Carolina ALE, Mecklenburg County ABC, Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, and our federal partners at the FBI, we conducted high visibility patrols and targeted enforcement. I'm proud to announce that Operation Safe Season resulted in 437 traffic stops, 438 citations, 54 arrests, 34 illegally possessed firearms confiscated from our streets, and many other things. These results demonstrate how targeted enforcement and collaboration can produce meaningful, proactive outcomes. Building on that success, we launched Queen City Safe back in January, and we are continuing this effort. Queen City Safe uses a similar operational model of high visibility patrols, strategic enforcement, and strong collaboration to drive positive results across all of Charlotte. Results from our January and February operations speak for themselves. We had over 250 traffic stops. We issued 84 citations. We made 52 arrests, and 22 firearms were taken off of our streets. Additionally, we seized 4 vehicles and over 2,000 grams of narcotics and more than $10,000 in U.S. currency. These efforts also led to the arrest of a known gang member and convicted felon who was previously charged with attempted first-degree murder. Reducing violent crime requires both focused enforcement and strategic partnerships. We cannot arrest our way out of community challenges. We have to work together as a community. Along with addressing violent crime, we continually focused on building stronger partnerships with the community through engagement in all of our 14 patrol divisions, and even our airport division, where nearly 54 million people travel annually. We conducted neighborhood forums. We had toy and clothing drives during Christmas. We did coffee with a cop sessions. We attended Panthers Fan Fest events. We participated in Shop with a Cop, and we had community cleanup efforts. All of this we partnered with the community to do. We also met with faith-based groups and leaders who play a vital role in Charlotte's identity. In February and March, we held 4 community meetings, 1 in each service area as part of our Let's Talk About It series. We are planning more of these in the months ahead. Sustained progress in reducing violent crime and strengthening community engagement requires a department of dedicated, high-quality professionals. Supporting the men and women of CMPD is essential and falls into my third but most important priority, and that is the morale and wellness of our employees. When our employees are healthy, motivated, and supported, they are better equipped to serve, protect, and collaborate with our community. Reducing vacancies is critical to that mission. While recruitment remains a long-term effort, we are focused on bringing in individuals who reflect Charlotte's values, diversity, and commitment to service. To get to 0 vacancies, it will take a total team effort. Employees and community alike will have to pitch in. I look to every employee to bring at least 1 person into the organization, and I ask the community to help refer someone who has a heart of service. To community groups and business leaders, you can help by following the lead of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Foundation, which provided a generous donation to support our employee referral incentive. Competitive compensation is important to me. Recently, I asked the North Carolina General Assembly for a 10% across-the-board raise for our employees and funding for take-home vehicles, priorities that would significantly improve both morale and retention. These are priorities that I will continue to advocate for. As we look ahead, 2026 is already showing strong momentum in all the areas I spoke about that have been our focus in the past 100 days. I'm incredibly proud of our officers and professional staff. Their dedication, professionalism, and service form the foundation of the progress we are making and the progress we will continue to build upon in the months ahead. Please note that these first 100 days are a foundation, not a finish line. There is more work ahead, and I'm committed to leading the department with integrity, transparency, and a deep respect for the community we serve. By continuing this work together, we can make Charlotte the safest large city in the nation. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your support of CMPD. To all of our employees, thank you for the work you do every day that is often thankless. Please know that I see you and I hear you. Stay safe and stay CMPD strong.
All right, that was Chief Patterson giving an update after more than 100 days on the job. She says they've already done so much just at the beginning of 2026, giving an update on traffic stops, the number of guns they've confiscated off the streets. She says this is a really strong momentum and they're looking forward to community engagement to continue to get the job done. We'll be right back after the break. Well, if you were tuned in to our 6 o'clock newscast, we talked to you about a fire that was happening in Still Creek that was near Planters Row. Well, we do have some updates for you as of right now. Just into our newsroom, we know about 30 Charlotte firefighters are currently working to control this blaze, trying to get it down within the next hour. They did not report any injuries to civilians or firefighters, and they say, of course, this fire is still under investigation. Here's some video for you. Take a look. This is from our photographer right now. You can see the roof of that home completely gone. We also talked to you about that a little bit earlier in the show. We do know 3 adults, 4 kids have been impacted by this fire. There is damage apparently on 2 other houses as well. Officials already marking this home as a total loss. As you can see, some of them right now just kind of walking past the area. It looks like the flames are gone, but they're still adding some more water to just make sure that the flames are completely out. But they said that within the next hour, they're hoping to be wrapping up that scene pretty shortly. Of course, we'll be sure to give you more details as they come into our newsroom. All right, we know Charlotte Interfaith is a diverse group in the Charlotte community, and faith leaders are going to be hosting a public interfaith forum Wednesday. That's March 25th. They're going to be exploring the connections between Black experiences and Palestinian cause. Let's take a listen.
Transition away for just a moment from this Mecklenburg County Board of Commissioners meeting. We'll likely dip back into this in just a few minutes after we wrap up our conversation that is coming up right now. So there's an event happening in Charlotte that we wanted to share with folks, kind of give a preview what you can expect to learn. And this is hopefully going to be very insightful for folks who take part, ask questions of folks who are part of this panel. So this is coming up next week on Wednesday. It starts at 6:30. It's called The Black Experience: Leadership, Palestine, and Truth truth-telling. And we have a couple folks from this panel joining us here in the Live Impact News studio to give us an idea of what folks can expect from this event. We have the Reverend Dr. Paul McAllister joining us, and we also have Jabril Huff. And both of y'all will be part of this panel, but it sounds like there will be other folks as well, and there will be multiple ideologies represented. Tell us a bit about this event. We understand this is actually a part 2 of a prior event that happened back in February. What can folks expect from next week's event?
Well, what they can expect is honest conversation based on lived experience, based on our historical understandings, and also based on some academic learnings that we have had the opportunity to have. Given the fact that we have such a diverse and inclusive interfaith panel, I think they can anticipate a wide array of topics that are being presented, and also be able to ask several questions. If they have questions about what is happening in the Middle East, what is happening in Gaza, what is happening with the state of Israel, and what our collective response as an interfaith community might be.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like here on the news side, we have these headlines so frequently, and folks have probably been hearing stories of what's going on in the Middle East, for months and months at a certain type of, I guess, rate, if you will. But it's a really convoluted and complicated history to kind of wrap your arms around and really understand what's happening. Is this something that you hope folks come away with a better context of things that are happening in current events today, and maybe folks can better pick how they feel about certain things, or maybe how they should contextualize certain things that are happening in the world right now?
Yes, I think this is something unique for Charlotte. You don't oftentimes get a chance to have interfaith discussion in a church such as this, to have honest conversations. A lot of times when we get together as interfaith congregations or whatnot, people like to hold hands and sing Kumbaya and not really speak to what's going on in the world. And we want to have those honest conversations. Sometimes these conversations are not easy to have, but we want to have those conversations, and not just us speaking to the people that come. We want the people that come speak to us. And sometimes, it might not be easy to digest what someone says, but I think it's necessary. If we are to build something that's going to last, we have to have honest conversations.
And you say, something that's not easy to digest. Do you suspect that some folks who maybe come might feel a little uncomfortable, maybe with some of the answers that they get, or maybe some of the topics that are just discussed?
Yes, that's very possible. We must get out of our comfort zones if we are going to grow and develop and learn and find out really what's going on in the world outside of us. When you talk about historic struggles, and we're connecting the black experience to the Palestinian experience, it was Nelson Mandela who saw what was going on in Palestine and said the apartheid in South Africa was connected to what the apartheid in Palestine, and what Israel is doing to Palestinians. Malcolm X, who many revere, called Israel out for its colonial occupation and apartheid actions against the Palestinians. So, we can't homogenize these people and act like we follow them and we're going to negate what they said.
Well, and I mean, you pointed out the fact that you'll have multiple backgrounds, multiple ideologies represented on this panel. We know you're with the Islamic Center of Charlotte, and Reverend, you're with the Global Leaders in Unity and Evolvement. And so we know also, though, there will be a rabbi, Dr. Barry Trachtenberg, as well as Layla El-Ali with the Charlotte United for Palestine group. So what is your hope by having so many different ideological backgrounds represented on this panel?
Our hope is people will understand and see that it's possible for people of different faiths and different persuasions to come together to work for what is right and what is just. This is not a religious battle that we are in, even though we may represent different religions. It's more political a lot of times than it is religious, but people will use religion, a piece of religion, and make a political fight for it. So it's very possible for us to come together and work for equality and justice and freedom for everyone, not just someone or some group.
Now, we mentioned this is a part 2. There was a part 1 that happened back in February, which was called Beyond Weaponization, Black History, Christian and Muslim Solidarity in Palestine. So this seemingly kind of kicked off this multi-part series that y'all are doing. How did that event go? What was the, focus of the topics presented in this one, and how do you think it went?
Well, we had several imams in the conversation, as well as another scholar named Hadi Mubarak. And I think that conversation went extraordinarily well. In fact, it went so well we realized that it would probably be beneficial to have a part 2 because we wanted to include a broader audience. So I would say that in that conversation we were able to prime our audience and get a sense of how the conversation would flow, and that would open the door for additional conversations. What we wanted to have in the first conversation was a Jewish member on the panel, and because that did not occur because of some logistical issues we had, we realized it would be more important for us to have part 2 and make sure that we had representation from the Jewish community as well.
Yeah. And you said, before we came on the air that you really hope folks show up and ask questions. How is the format of this event? Is it, the panelists making addresses and then people ask questions? Do you just kind of come right out the gate, ask us questions, and we answer them? And what's the format look like?
Yeah. Well, we're planning to make maybe a 3-minute opening statement, each panelist, and then open it up for Q&A, and for, like I said, that's where the meat of the matter is. It's not for people to come and just hear us speak, even though we have something to share. We want to hear from the people, and we want to get somewhere. Some people may come with opposing views, and sometimes that's necessary, to get to a better place. But yeah, we want to hear from them.
What we want to do is we want folks to come away from this experience enriched. I think that would be the operative word. Enriching the lives of those who are present, as well as enriching our community to see that we can have these dangerous dialogues, some might call them, or critical or crucial conversations, and not poke holes at each other, but focus on the issues. Now, the topic for part 2 is the Black experience. And so part of what we're going to really home in on, Vanessa, is to make sure that we highlight how African Americans, irrespective as to what their religious background might be, have contributed to the whole, meaning what is our experience in the course of this entire dialogue, going back to the days of W.E.B. Du Bois, and then even the 1960s and the Civil Rights Movement with Dr. King and Ralph Abernathy, Andy Young, and then SNCC, because these individuals and groups at various points in times in history have had different perspectives. So we want to educate and
Okay, that was our exclusive interview with interfaith leaders talking about their upcoming session, March 25th. They're basically going to be talking about what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening with current events today. They say this is a time to have very honest conversations, a time for folks to really be able to digest the realness of the world and what's happening. So, of course, if you want to watch it, you can go into WCNCplus.com for live extended interviews. More news coming your way at 11 p.m. Meet me there, folks.